Hey, family. Have you ever thought about how to unlock your brilliance? What does it look like? And more importantly, what's it going to feel like? Today's guest is a nationally recognized transformational speaker, bankroll your brilliance expert, and best-selling author of 4 books. Keep watching so you can catch the wave. All right. Well, welcome to a Woman's Heart Podcast. We're a wellness and lifestyle podcast, and I'm so excited that you're joining me for another empowering message because today on the show, we're honored and privileged to have with us Dr. Nicole Roberts Jones. Now, Dr. Nicole is the founder of Bankroll Your Brilliance Expert, CEO in NRJ Enterprises. Dr. Nicole is uniquely gifted in one thing, drawing out what's best in you and helping you take your brilliance to the bank. I love that. She is a veteran of the entertainment industry and has worked in talent management and casting before shifting her talents to help executives create powerful transitions. Now, she's currently working with women experts, professional in the professional services industry, agents, coaches, and generates multiple streams of revenue to become the go-to in their industry. So she teaches that. And her clients have included Steve Harvey World Group, Dell EMC, McDonald's, Blue Cross Blue Shield, the Boss Network, as well as Lisa Nichols, who I absolutely love, Motivating the Masses and Coaching Diversity Institute, just to name a few. And in addition to all that greatness, Dr. Nicole is nationally recognized as a transformational speaker, bankroll your brilliance expert, and best-selling author of 4 books. So think of me as your chief encouragement officer, bringing you firsthand expertise and knowledge from a transformational breakthrough gifted author, speaker, coach, and business owner dedicated to bringing out the best in people and making an impact in the world. Welcome to the show, Dr. Nicole.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. Can't wait to have this conversation with you.
Awesome. Yeah. And we're super excited having you on the show. So let's just jump right on in. So why don't you share with us who you are from your heart and what makes you get up in the morning?
So who I am is a woman that's obedient to my calling. You know, my greatest desire when I wake up, everything I do is when I get to meet God face to face, I want him to say, girl, I'm proud of you. Job well done. I don't want him to say, go back. You forgot some things, right? So that really is what makes me get up in the morning.
Awesome. So I've heard it said too, Dr. Nicole, die empty. Like every gift, everything he's ever given us, we should use it up so we could die empty. I love that.
Exactly.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey then and who and what has helped shape you to become this amazing impact leader you are today?
Sure. So I have to start from the beginning. So on September 19th, I can't believe I'm going to say this, it will be my 30th anniversary. It's like, God, how old are you? So I started in this journey 30 years ago when in 1993, I had the job that I have dreamed of since I was 7 years old. And I want you guys to get this. So back then, as you read, I worked in the entertainment industry. So back then, I worked for Viacom's largest cable network. We had an outreach to over 89 million homes on a weekly basis. Wow. And then from there, I worked in casting for the #1 TV show on Fox. And then from there, I worked with a production group that what we produced generated over $12.6 billion a year. So I'm sharing that because I want you guys to get that I was playing really, really big. And if you know me like I think you know me, I was going to all the hot Hollywood parties. So I was living the dream. But in the dark of the night when I was by myself, I felt like something was missing. So that is where my journey started because I couldn't understand how could I feel like something is missing when this is everything I've dreamed of and I love every minute of it. And yet I felt like there was this hole in my soul. And as I prayed about it, God was silent. I was like, okay. And when I tried to talk to my girlfriends about it, they would say, are you crazy? Do you realize we went to this red carpet event and we went to this premiere party? And so I was totally confused and I didn't know what to do. And so one night, one of my girlfriends said, let's volunteer at this youth program at our church. Okay. And that night, as I started working with young women, as their eyes lit up, my heart lit up. And I said, oh my God, this is the thing I've been looking for. And I said it like that because what I was doing was coaching. But again, this was 1993. I had never heard of coaching. I didn't know what to call this thing, but this was the first time my soul was alive. And so that is when my journey started to really begin to do this thing that I do now.
Awesome. So taking that leap of faith, really were you in a faith space to be able to take that leap of faith and then realize the connection. I love that. So so truly being inspired, and helping others get these breakthroughs in their lives, what keeps you kind of motivated to continue to do that? Because the motivational industry, the entrepreneur industry, helping women in general overall, what is motivating you to continue to do the work? Because you start the work, sometimes there's peaks and valleys, there's those times
sometimes it's always, look,
right, is
it's
this
always
what I'm
peaks and
supposed to be doing, Lord? Am I on the right track? You ask those questions. What keeps you motivated in that space?
What I've learned over the 30 years, I can't believe I still feel like I'm 35. Okay. So every time I say 30
Well,
years,
you
I'm
still
like,
look 35. So just
girl, God is good. God is good. Right. And a whole lot of dermatology and hair dye. Cause trust, the gray is here.
Working with what you got. Yes.
Right. So literally, for me, what I've realized is that I call it your brilliance. I don't call it your purpose. Okay. So the reason I call it your brilliance is Matthew 5:16. And yes, you're going to get a little Jesus with me. Matthew 5:16 says, let your light so shine among men, I always say, and women, that they would glorify your Father. Right. And that they may see your good work. So the goal that God brought all of us to this world is that we might shine. So I call it your brilliance instead of purpose, because my goal for anybody I get to coach, teach, work with is that you shine so bright, you need to hand people shades because you're so bright, right?
Oh, I say that too. That's so funny. We got that in common. I say that to my clients
I love
as well. Take
so
two
here's
pairs of
what I've
shades.
learned. Right. Hello. Right. And because so many of us dim our light, I can go in a whole conversation about that. But here's the thing I want you guys to get. And the reason I brought that up is what I've learned in my own journey is that your brilliance matriculates. So what do I mean by that? So, we've matriculated through education. We started in kindergarten and then went to, through elementary, went through junior high. Some of us called it middle school. Then we went to high school. Some of us went on to graduate or college or what have you. See, but we know the end from the beginning of the education matriculation process. So we kind of know what to expect. Right. The way God works is he doesn't tell you the end from the beginning. So when you're getting in one of those peaks, it's God's moment to grow you and stretch you. So you can either stay complacent and do nothing and run back up the same hill you already, conquered, or you can go through it, grow, and get to the other side where God has greater for you to do or be. So what I realized in entertainment when I left production and casting, what do I do now? Production and casting. What God was doing was expanding my territory. And so that valley I was in when I didn't know what to do, what I didn't realize God was doing was expanding the use of my gift.
I love that. I love that. That is so good. So with that said, to become a nationally recognized transformational speaker and bankroll your brilliance expert, tell us what that journey was like, because you started out one way, you got your footing, and now you're in the industry, you're doing your thing, and now all of a sudden you're becoming nationally recognized. How did you even acquire that title? Okay,
so look, we're gonna go through some peaks and valleys. So you guys heard about the first valley, right? First valley was loved, the job I was doing, but felt like something was missing. So cut to that was 1993. Okay, so y'all follow me.
Yeah.
So now 2010, 17 years in, I am doing the thing that in that moment in my church that night when I was working with young women, I prayed, God, what is this? God began to give me a vision of my business. So by 2010, 17 years later, I'm doing the thing that was my vision that I saw. It's real. So back then I had a for-profit and a nonprofit. And my nonprofit, which is where that work with my teenage girls transitioned from that night, I had 13 chapters of my nonprofit working with African-American teenage girls in 10 states throughout the country. And my for-profit coaching high-performing Christian women to understand what their purpose is and get in alignment with it. I had a max out coaching client roster. I couldn't take another client. So in 2010, I wrote my first book. I'm going to answer your question, but I want y'all to get this, right? So here I am. Look, you see, I'm climbing, right? So in 2010, I wrote my first book. When that book came out is when I started getting invitations to speak all over the country.
Wow.
So this was everything I saw on my vision board, everything, and all of it. However, I was only generating $13,000 a year. Y'all see how that balance,
everything that was going on. Yeah, everything was going on. So your book though has made a significant impact too. So
let me finish.
We want to segue into that. Yes.
People think that books generate revenue for you. They do not. Let me say that again. A book is not going to generate substantial revenue for you. Let me tell you guys something. When my book came out, first of all, I thought I was going to self-publish my book. I got an offer from a publishing house. Okay, it was not a six-figure deal. It was we'll publish your book. Thank you. Hallelujah. I was so excited. I thought I was going to be a big baller. Let me keep it real. And when they told me I was the best-selling author for the whole publishing house, I was like, yes, I'm about to quit my job. Because
So
y'all know I had a
excited.
daytime job because I couldn't eat on 13,000. Okay. I keep it
You're
all the
like,
way real.
I'm dualpreneuring at this point. So you're doing
Wait,
both.
listen, that check from that publishing house for a quarter was $300 for the whole quarter. I was like, I thought I was a best-selling author. Yeah, you can't live on that. So listen,
Exactly.
I remember this epiphany moment like it was yesterday, y'all. Okay. When again, remember, now I'm in the valley again. So remember, I was up here loving my job. Then I felt like something was missing. Then I started growing it. And here I am in the valley again. It's like, really, I'm here again. So I was like, Lord, what is going on? So I remember this was November 7th, 2010. I just gotten home from another speaking weekend, and you heard me say I had a daytime job because I had to eat. My daytime job was I was an adjunct professor at Boston University at the time. My class was at 8 a.m., Edna. Listen, y'all, I hadn't looked at my syllabus. I hadn't written a next lecture note. I was like, I can't do this anymore, Laura. I can't. This is too much.
Right.
And so what God began to show me was I didn't have strategy. I was overlooking parts of my brilliance. So we all do it. And I hired a coach in that moment. To make a long story short, all roads led to a coach. That coach cost $30,000. I didn't have it. First lesson I learned is if you want to do something different, you got to learn something different. One, two, I had to invest at the level I wanted to see the return. So real quick, just to end it, my coach began to show me all the areas of my brains and my blind spots. I began to create a methodology in that moment. I went from 13,000 to over 200,000 within 6 months. Wow. And so that is really that methodology that has continued to grow my business since that time is what I now teach women, because you too can bankroll your brilliance.
Right. I love that. So there's sometimes too, what you just said about a coach, you don't see your blind spots. You know, there's something bigger. You don't know how to get there. And sometimes you need a coach to coach you right through that and then to stay within that space. So I love that. I love that you were open to that because.
And no, it took me 17 years. Look, it took me 17 years. I'm going to tell you, because I kept thinking, oh, well, I'm an adjunct professor.
Right. You can do these things.
Should know how to do this. And yet my business kept failing. I kept thinking, okay, I'm gonna work extra time over the weekend, but doing the same thing, just more of it, just produces the same result. And so it wasn't until I invested in someone that was 10 steps ahead of me that could show me what I didn't know that everything changed for me.
Right. And then helping you with the income producing activities. What does that look like? You have a foundation, but everything from there, you got your speaking engagements, your books, or whatever. Right. You can make that work. So I love that. So tell us a little bit about, and I love this, because you have 4 books that are bestsellers. Tell us about the book itself, in terms of what are some of the best takeaways of one of your books that you feel would really impact the audience listening today to be able to go out and get your book?
Sure. So my book was called Find Your Fierce. I republished it and changed it to Bankroll Your Brilliance because I felt like men were missing their blessing, even though 98% of my clients are women. I always feel like a man can get a breakthrough too. So the book is now Bankroll Your Brilliance. You can find it on Amazon. And so literally what I did was I took so when I had that moment with my coach and she began to show me all the ways I was overlooking my brains, my blind spot, what I began to realize is, number one, God created all of us to profit. Right. You have a gift in you that's the answer to somebody's need, want, desire, and you've got to be able to package that into a way to serve not just them, but every person that needs you. What I wasn't doing in my business is I had no methodology, none. Now, mind you, I've been teaching methodology as a professor, but I had no methodology myself. Hello, duh, right? So literally, in Bankroll Your Brains, I walk you through the 6 areas you've got to develop in your business. Those of you that want a revenue generating multiple stream, some of it making money in your sleep is what I call it, where those of you like me, my problem, if I'm gonna keep it all the way real, the reason my business wasn't growing is I only had one stream of revenue, and that was me coaching. And if you're working a full-time job, how the heck did I think that was going to grow when I can't add more of me in my days? Right. So it really was learning a methodology, which is what I now teach my clients, to then create the 4 pieces you need in your business, 4 systems you need in your business to create multiple streams of income. And I walk you through as much as I can in the book. So my goal is always a do, it's not a read. So there's worksheets, there's handouts. And so Bankroll Your Brains really walks you through some of the things I learned in that pivotal moment in my business.
Wonderful. Well, I'm gonna have to get your book. I love that. Thanks. I'll be out on Amazon today. Make sure I get a copy. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the Brilliance Mastery Academy? Because I read a little bit about that, and I think that was it's so profound. When I read that, I thought, wow, that is so awesome that you laid that foundation for an academy. So why don't you share a little bit about that?
Sure. So really, Brilliance Mastery Academy is what I wish I had when I was stuck, when I was not making money in my business. You know, I kept, and I'll be honest with you, I was investing in myself, but I didn't know what to pay for. So I bought a little bit over here and a little bit over there, but I was also being cheap. So I was buying a little piece over here, and a little piece over here. I had a free notebook. I mean, y'all got that free notebook from all the free webinars. I had that too.
Right.
So, but I didn't know what to do. Mind you, I had a master's degree when my business was failing. Then I went and got an accelerated MBA and I still was failing. So I was like, I don't know what to do. So what I have learned in that time is what Brilliance Mastery Academy is. I'm going to say this to you quickly. There's 4 areas you've got to have at play in your business if you're going to have multiple revenue streams. The first one is a purpose system. You guys know now I call purpose brilliance, but because nobody doesn't know that, it says purpose on the website, purpose system. So you've got to have a methodology. I was just talking to a woman that's a $multi-million dollar earner, and she didn't have a methodology, and she's stuck trying to figure out another revenue stream or 2 or 3. And I said to her, you know, you've been doing, no, I tailor the experience. Then also the same thing happened when I had the pleasure of working with Dr. Deborah Tillman, who's America's Super Nanny. Those of you that don't know.
Yes, I know of her. I actually have
she's the same thing.
I have, yeah.
Oh, I love it. She actually wrote the foreword to Bankroll Your Brains, but she actually said the same thing to me. She said, oh, I tailor the experience, and you really don't. You just don't know your methodology because you're you on autopilot. So it's really getting clear on what that methodology is. And I'm going to tell you, most people that try to do it themselves, you're not going to be able to do it on your own. So whether it's, listen, I'm clear, not everybody's coach, but you need a coach, me or someone that's going to help you clear on what your purpose system is. Second is tribe building. I don't call it marketing. I call it tribe building, because there are people that are assigned to you. But you got to be clear on who they are, how you are their answer, and how do you articulate a predictable result. Nobody cares what you're going to do. We're going to do this, and then we're going to do that. And what do I get?
Right.
That's what people, so you have to be able to articulate that.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
You have to be able to articulate that and show them value. And so it's really understanding how to use that and build a tribe ready to buy from you. It's not just posting in social media, because all social media ain't created equal, right? Exactly. All of us don't need to be everywhere. So you got to know where to swim, how to swim in order to attract your ideal client. The third is back end systems. So if you're going to have a program that works for you while you're not present, you've got to have it automated. So there are times when I wake up, someone's bought a program for me, started it, and going through the program, I've done nothing. Right. I've had clients in Singapore and in UK and Aruba, all over the country, all over the world, I should say. Right. And that's because I have automation in my business. So you've got to have back end systems that are working for you while you're not present. And then last but not least is you've got to have a sales system. How do you convert from online? How do you have conversations, you know, that convert to cash or, you know, that are converting into revenue? You've got to understand how. And I don't like to call it sell. I like to call it serve, because again,
I love that. I like that better.
Purpose system. You go back to your purpose system. God created you to serve a group of people that need you. So you've got to be willing to make the invitation the right way at the right time that will pull them into becoming your client. So that's really the 4-step methodology that I don't just teach you. We actually implement with you. My back-end team creates your member center and some of your automation for you. So it's really a year-long program. I call it an incubator, end-to-end, where I'll walk you through setting each of these pieces up and implementing them hand in hand with you, so that you're launching your first either online group, some way program. But at the end of my time with you, I then get to walk you through your methodology, and we create your next program.
I love that. That is so good. And I'm taking notes, copious notes. So I know the listening audience is breaking out the pen and the paper and taking some notes too, because that's serious gold nuggets you just dropped. So thank you for that. So, well, in your opinion, what are some of the common obstacles people face when trying to unlock their brilliance? And like, how do you help them overcome these challenges? Just with walking them through, or like more personal one-on-one coaching? What does that look like in terms of?
It's both. It's actually both, because in Brilliance Mastery Academy, you get group coaching and one-on-one coaching with me. So I think the biggest obstacle is imposter syndrome. When God is calling you to do something with your brilliance you've never done, then you start saying things like, is anybody gonna buy this from me? Or, oh, I can't do that. Or how can I charge that? Or, you know, all the things that, look, I felt that. I know you have too, right, Edna? So
I have. That's why I'm smiling at you. I'm like, I literally just dropped a podcast yesterday on imposter syndrome, 4 tips to overcoming.
And I'm gonna tell you,
Real.
there's John 10:10. You already know I'm a Jesus girl, right? So we know
Yes.
this part where Jesus said, "I've come that you have life and have it more abundantly." That is tied to your brilliance and your ability to
Yeah.
step outside your comfort zone and do the work to stretch and grow it. But the first part we forget: the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. That still
Yeah.
killing and destroy is how he uses when you second guess yourself, when you play
Yes.
small and you settle for where you are, when you're
Right.
playing in mediocre, when you're like thinking, oh, nobody's gonna pay that. It's like, really, do you realize the brilliance that's inside of you? Right.
Mhm.
So it's really doing the work to get clear on when you begin to understand the result you create for your clients. I'm no longer apologetic when I'm clear that I help women create multiple streams of income from what they already know. I'm clear on that. So then I don't have to be
Exactly.
apologetic about it. So it's really,
Right.
I think that is what shifts the mindset is when you are clear on who you are and the change you make in this world. And you know that it's God that put that in there and that you're doing his work to bring the kingdom here on earth. I'm gonna say this last thing. When
Mhm.
each of us do the thing that we're purposed to do, let me say this. The
Mhm.
word profit, look it up in a dictionary. It means a valuable return, a gain. So when I do the thing that I do, my clients are profiting because they're getting a valuable return or gain. But ultimately, who's really getting the profit? God is getting the profit because
Mhm.
we're
Mhm.
each doing the thing we're purposed to do. And God's give back to us is profit. That's that little money that we get, right? Well, it's not a little bit of
Right.
money.
Right.
So that really is a system that got set up around our purpose. That when I
Mhm.
do what I'm purposed to do and I gift and bless the people that I'm working with, and they bless the people they're working with, as all a part of the system that then God gains, and his gift again back to us is that we gain.
That's good. I love that. That's so good. So, many of the listeners are aspiring to be kind of in your space, either speaker, author, opening up some type of online educational webinars. So, what advice do you have for them to get started on to make a meaningful impact?
Sure. So I have a gift for you. But before I give you that gift, I
Awesome.
remember part of the reason why my business failed. Okay, y'all, I keep it real always, is I knew
That's
God was calling me to speak,
mhm.
but I never stopped long enough to have a speaking business. Even if you
Right.
have a book, because people need
Mhm.
more. Listen, as a speaker,
Mhm.
people need more than a 45-minute, 60-minute, even if I did a 2-hour keynote, people need more than
Right.
that.
Right.
Irresponsible for me not to have a way that I can continue the work. Even a book is great, but some people will need more than that from you. It's again
Mhm.
irresponsible. So it's not just about making money, it's about the transformation you leave behind. So for
Exactly.
those of you that are saying, I need help, I have a 2-day intensive coming up here in the DC area. Those of you that are in the DC area, listen, I rented a private mansion because I was trying to do something big after COVID.
Awesome.
So bybintensive.com. I'm gonna say it one
Mhm.
more time. It's bankroll your brains,
Mhm.
but BYB is easier. bybintensive.com. So listen, it's not
Mhm.
a conference with a bunch of speakers. It's me and you. I keep the room small
I
because I really
love
want to
that.
coach you in those 2 days. And those 4 areas I just walked you through, we walk through each of those 4 in those 2 days. So because you're listening to the podcast, A Woman's Heart, I have a gift for y'all. VIP 23, VIP all caps, $300 off. Mm-hmm. But you've got to do it
Awesome.
by Friday. When you're listening to this, you got to do it by Friday. I'm not going to say date, but VIP 23, y'all. Again, bybintensive.com. If you're ready, get your button of seat. I promise you, I'm coming to coach you. You come empty, I will come full. When you register, you'll get the address for listen, I have a shuttle picking y'all up from a hotel because
Okay.
the road to the estate, it's on the water. It's in McLean, Virginia. Those of you that are like, where
Okay,
is
so
it?
it's
It's right
close. It's
outside of DC.
local. That's good. It's right here in
It's
this
not
area,
far,
the Virginia area. Mhm.
but because there's no parking on the street and all this
Mhm.
stuff, and it's on the
Mhm.
water, and me trying to be big dog, and I was, and
And you
listen, this is
are
God stretching me.
you
This is
stepping
God
big.
stretching me again. This is God stretching me again. I'm gonna be
That's
honest,
right.
right?
I love it.
Those of you that come in the room, I'll tell you the whole story. But anyway, because I was not trying to do it like this, but God
I
has a
love
whole
it.
different plan. But anyway, so we have a shuttle that's gonna pick you up from a hotel that's 5 miles away. So you'll get all that information when you register. So those of you that come empty, I'm coming full. You'll get a workbook. We doing the work together in the room.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you so much for that. That is so good. So you share your general website information with the audience. So you have a general website too,
Yep.
Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Nicole? Okay.
Yep. NicoleRobertsJones.com.
Mhm.
NicoleRobertsJones.com is where you can find me.
Awesome. Thank you. So that it was wonderful. So I'm going to say, Dr. Nicole, it has been a pleasure having you on the show today. You are truly a woman on fire, and I love it. You were kicking indoors. So thank you for taking the time out of your
It
busy
takes someone to know one. It takes someone to know one.
Appreciate that. So thank you so much for like just, taking the time out of your busy schedule, because you and I, we met the way we met. We
That was all
connected.
God.
It was like,
Mm-hmm.
how are we going to connect again? And I couldn't wait to get you back on the show, to have you on the show. And so thank you again. And, you dropped some true gold nuggets on us today. So we're going to have you back on the show.
Would
So
love
you
it.
can
Would
talk
love
to
it.
us again. I love it. So, well, I want to tell the audience this is a wrap. And if you've enjoyed our time together, remember to share this podcast, like and subscribe, and tell a friend. Women Empowerment Workshop announcements. As a mindset coach, I specialize in helping women find and claim their authentic power. I provide coaching, educational products, training, mentoring, empowerment workshops, and networking events for women all over the world. So if you want to take a deeper dive and get some one-on-one coaching or join a mastermind support group, we offer beyond the workshop ICE coaching and consulting services to help you make a mindset shift and transformation. For more information, hit me up in my IM under Voices of Encouragement. .com, me today at gmail.com, and hit the website at www.voicesoфencouragement.com. Until we meet again, Ephesians 4:1, walk worthy of the call for which you were called.